Hello sir, my name is Aaron Timothy and today I'm going to present my first topic about 5 countries. First is South Korea. Based on the diagram, the online learning tools used mostly by students is Moodle with the most user with 42.73%, followed by LearnPress with a percentage of 22.12% as a platform with the second most users. And then Tutor LMS become the third place with a percentage of 17.27%, followed by Ex Libris as the fourth place with a percentage 4.85%. Fifth place is Skilljar with a percentage of 3.03%. Then OpenX with a percentage of 3.03%. Then the other is 7%. Then, the positive and negative impacts of online learning for students in Korea. The positive. The learning process become more effective. E-learning tools make students become highly motivated. Number 3, growth mindset. And the last one, increase student collaboration. And the negative impact is students' concern and students' laziness. Next is the barriers experienced by the students towards the online learning method in South Korea. According to UNICEF, there are 4% of students didn't have access to digital device in South Korea. Not all students were prepared for online learning, but some had better support at home through their digital literacy, private tuition, and parental supervision. For those who hadn't prepared yet, with the move to online classroom, this created a barrier for vulnerable students in their continued access to education. Added to this, there is evidence that learners' personal factors come into play such as motivation, practice in learning independently, and presence or lack of digital skills. Next is the barriers experienced by the teachers towards the online learning method in South Korea. As in many countries, teachers in South Korea faced additional burdens and responsibilities during COVID-19. Teachers were required to acquire new skills to research and deliver lessons using online learning platforms, which many had not experienced previously. Teachers expressed concerns about the quality of content and instruction because of the short period of preparation and limitation in the means of instruction. The last one is parents' attitudes and perspectives of online learning in South Korea. South Korean educational response to COVID-19 brings up fundamental problems associated with family background. Some stay-at-home parents complained about opening schools too early, and a few of them even choose to keep their children at home after school reopening to avoid possibilities of infection. According to UNICEF and UNESCO, during one survey, parents complained about a lack of communication between teachers and students during online classes. Lots of parents were dissatisfied with online class and concerned about balancing work and childcare when schools were closed. The next country is Japan. Based on diagram, Moodle becomes the first place as an online learning platform with the most users with 60.59%, followed by LearnPress as the second place with a percentage of 14.61%. Tutor LMS become the third place with a percentage of 9.74%, followed by Skilljar as the fourth place with a percentage of 5.66%, while the other is 9%. Next is the positive and negative impacts of online learning for students in Japan. First, positive impact. Not bound by a class schedule, sharing content and supporting monitoring student learning, being able to review material, ease of keeping daily routine, and then the negative, cost more, suicide rates higher than before, limited opportunities to fulfill students' potential. Next is the barriers experienced by the students towards the online learning method in Japan. As we know, in this pandemic, Internet access becomes an important part of students' life because they need to attend their online class with an internet connection. Once the internet connection is bad, then they cannot study. A lack of access to the internet of ICT device and literacy to benefit from connectivity means exclusion marked by the lack of access to the wealth of information available online, fewer resources to learn and to grow, and limited opportunities for the most vulnerable children and youth to fulfill their potential. There are also lack of students who didn't have supporting device. In this pandemic, devices become our friend because it will always accompany us in online learning. Not only in internet access, students also need a supporting device that will make them easier to study. Online learning also made lots of concern for students, therefore, they aren't able to maximize their self potential. Next, the barriers experienced by the teachers towards the online learning method in Japan. For teachers in Japan, online learning is a burden. Teachers' readiness for online learning in Japan are still not good. The OECD reported that teachers are still lack of readiness to deliver learning in a blended and more individual manner. UNICEF reported that teachers in Japan still have a poor capacity and confidence to deliver education using ICT through blended learning approaches. The last one is parents' attitudes and perspectives of online learning in Japan. There are additional costs for parents when their children are learning from home because they need to facilitate their children with a supporting device, good internet provider, etc. to make their children can study well. Parents with low economic level would feel failed to maximize their children's potential because they couldn't facilitate their children well. Next country is Taiwan. Based on diagram, Moodle becomes the first place as a platform most used by students with 50.16% users, followed by Tutor LMS as the second place with 26.52% users. Then LearnPress as the third place with 14.38% users, followed by OpenEdX as the fourth place with 3.19% users, while the others are 6% users. Next is the positive and negative impacts of online learning for students in Taiwan. Positive. First, time allotted for completing the assignment. Lessons content are interesting. Use of films makes learning easier. Guiding questions are very helpful. While the negative are overwhelming information, afraid to ask questions, unsure to schedules, and unable to accomplish the assigned tasks on time. Next is the barriers experienced by the students towards the online learning method in Taiwan. Most students prefer face-to-face learning because they are not ready for e-learning. Students are not prepared for fully online experience. For students, the biggest challenge in online learning is accessibility. Computers, the internet, technology are all affect students' e-learning efficiency. Many students also do not know how to join an online class, therefore their teachers need to make an instruction video for them. Many students are still unfamiliar with the user interface because they are still new to operating computers. Very few pupils have mobile phones, therefore they need their parents to accompany them while studying online because their teachers communicate with them through their parents. Next is barriers experienced by teachers towards online learning method in Taiwan. The frontline teachers were required to immediately develop a teaching plan and learn how to teach on the online learning platform. E-learning a challenge for a teacher, especially the elder one, because not easy for teachers to know how to operate the user interface. Because a lot of students do not know how to attend an online class, then few teachers record instructional videos and then pass them to their parents through social media such as Line so that students can watch the videos, and learn knowledge. Because teachers adopt synchronous online teaching, only about one-third of students are able to successfully take the online course. Additionally, teachers cannot choose to share the entire screen when sharing screen, otherwise they cannot see students when switching screens. The last one is parents' attitudes and perspective of online learning method in Taiwan. For most parents, e-learning has a bad impact, especially for those with low finance, because their children don't have a phone, so they have to be involved in this e-learning. Even though parents still have to go to work and cannot accompany their children. Since e-learning is implemented, parents also have complained about the amount of homework has increased significantly. Even if they receive a message from the teacher, it cannot be immediately passed on to their children. The next country is Hong Kong. Based on the diagram, Moodle becomes the first place as a platform most used by students with 29.35%, followed by eClass as the second place with 26.32%, LearnPress as the third place with 16.19%, Tutor LMS as the fourth place with 8.3%, SkillJar as the fifth place with 4.25%, LearnWorld as the sixth place with 3.64%, Xlibris as the seventh place with 3.04%, while the others are 9%. Next, the positive and negative impacts of online learning for students in Hong Kong. Positive. First, more effective. Ultimately, the successful cultivation of competencies and skills. Easy way out during pandemic. While the negative are student development and learning experience were hindered, affected negatively by stress and mental well-being. Students concerned, students were left behind, hinder the cultivation of students' competence. Next, the barriers experienced by the students towards the online learning method in Hong Kong. For about 12% students in Hong Kong showed their strong willingness to study online, whilst 22% students prefer face-to-face class rather than online class. It means that there are more students who are not ready for online class. Many students are lack of readiness for this sudden transfer from face-to-face class to online class. Many students felt like this online class limited them, so their learning experiences were hindered. Students who unfortunately cannot have access to technology may be left behind because they cannot attend the class. The main challenges for students during online class were the lack of self-discipline, poor learning atmosphere, and eye fatigue caused by staring at the screen for a long time. Next, the barriers experienced by the teachers towards the online learning method in Hong Kong. The teachers need to promote interaction through many different pedagogical practices, with social distancing measures that are implemented in most countries, and the sudden dependence on online learning to replace the conventional face-to-face pedagogy. Both instructors and students are facing difficulties to adapt. And the last one is parents' attitudes and perspective of online learning in Hong Kong. According to Homok, regarding to household income level, we found that respondents from wealthier families were more satisfied with their online learning experiences during COVID-19 pandemic. With class suspension, the educational responsibilities of parents have become even more crucial, with many likely faced with competing demands. Stay-at-home parents have to adapt new routines at home in which they have to deal with the demands of distance learning while performing different household responsibilities. Parents who work outside of their homes have to arrange childcare and offer support to their children's distance learning while simultaneously working from home or in the office. Without training and preparation, parents will naturally encounter many difficulties and problems in process. Okay, so the last country is Indonesia. Based on the diagram, WhatsApp becomes the first place as the online learning tool most used by students with 34.11%, followed by Zoom as the second place with 18.6%, Google Classroom as the third place with 15.5%, Google Meet as the fourth place with 8.53%, while the others are 8.53%. Next, the positive and negative impacts of online learning for students in Indonesia. Positive. It's more effective and efficient. It builds understanding and skill related to the learning goal, whether individual or improve group work learning, and make the students easy to do the task. While the negative impacts are lack of discipline, lack of students' comprehension, and lack of mastery in IT. Next, the barriers experienced by students towards online learning method in Indonesia. Not all students can access online class such as Google Classroom, Edmodo, or Zoom meeting. There are many reasons such as they have no facility to access it at home, they have to wait for their parents for help because their parents are still working, or they cannot access it because there is no fee to buy internet quota. Unstable network are also students' barrier in online learning because bad connection makes them hard to listen to study. Students' adjustment to use of e-learning platform are still not optimal. Many students are also lack of mastery in IT, therefore hard for them to access digital learning. Next, the barriers experienced by the teachers towards the online learning method in Indonesia. New online teaching strategies produce many obstacles for teachers. It is not easy to apply because they are still learning about learning. They encountered some obstacles when they implemented it. Moreover, teachers have their perception to implement online learning. Teacher perception becomes an important thing. Various strategies were used by teachers in online learning to achieve learning objective. Teachers encountered 4 obstacles. They were using e-learning tools, teacher knowledge, time management, and student motivation. In online learning, teachers were faced with the challenge of making interesting learning. Every teacher must have good knowledge and good understanding. Time management was one of the teachers' obstacles they had to overcome. Teachers need to improve their teaching style because technical teaching could increase and decrease students' enthusiasm. The last one is parents' attitudes and perspective of online learning in Indonesia. Parents need to facilitate their children in this online learning method. Children need a device and internet network for online learning. Because bad connection is bad for teacher in online learning, therefore, parents need to get the best provider for the network so their children can study well. Parents also have to buy their children a quota so their children can stay connected with internet so they can get the latest update from their teachers or lecturers about the material or meeting. Okay, sir, I think that's all for my topic 1 presentation. Thank you, sir.